This is the Practicing Christian, and this week we're looking at the business of putting food by. This is an old expression for salting, drying, canning, or otherwise storing food for a time when you may have no fresh food, when the weather is poor or the money lean and the need is strong. In much of our world, this is still an urgent task. Food security is low. Insects attack what's been put by. Thieves and bandits and marauding armies steal it. Feckless governments destroy the currency, and therefore there is little wealth with which to buy it. There's also the law of unintended consequences. In recent years, when the U.S. Congress voted to have our oil companies buy huge quantities of grain, alcohol, that is ethanol, for fuel oil, they did so not knowing that this would gradually benefit farmers in our Midwest who grew corn. So much corn was sold for fuel conversion that supplies for international marketing were markedly reduced. People in Mexico and other nations who lived on marginal incomes saw their costs of tortillas go up 40%, 60%, as formerly imported corn from the USA was no longer available. To supplement their own crops, even some of their domestic corn was shipped to the USA. Hunger was increasing. Well, now most of us have good experience in feeding the bodies of the hungry. We support groups like World Vision, One Great Hour of Sharing, the Mennonite Service Committee, Catholic Charities, and so forth. Physical suffering and death is greatly reduced by what practicing Christians commit to and do. Many of us plan ahead to do this, putting by not food but money for a gift we'll make each year for the problems of hunger persists. What you do does not go unnoticed by the Lord of creation. It's trickier when we get into the Christian practice of putting by foods, time, or energy to feed the hungry, to feed the hunger of the soul, especially in ourselves, to feed it in those around us or at a distance. One Christian slowly suffocating in a dead church because of a lack of being fed the gospel wrote this: I come here on Sunday to be fed. My congregation is not hostile to God, nor to our Christ, but it is often mute about this great reality, or preoccupied with, quote, relevant issues, close quote. It is to me as if there is no sun, no birds. This is a little world of my church, which is sometimes still, sometimes exciting, It's a pleasant and relaxing world, but something is often missing. It's like a piece of meat or cheese, good cheese. But our that's all that's on our plate. There is no bread. I come here for that light, that sound, that bread of life, which informs my mind and illumines my way. I want the nourishing gifts of the Spirit that may be given to us. I want God's truth and love to be accessible to all of us. I want to feel it in my bones. I want these things available to restore wholeness in places where malnutrition of the soul exists for me. I want our gifts multiplied to abundantly nourish all people. You can't buy that sort of food at Kroger. You can't bring it home in a plastic bag. Even American Express doesn't encourage shopping for it with your card. Most of us have had about as much training in these things as we have in fencing or savate, the French martial art involved in kickboxing. So what can we do? We can start by dividing all the opportunities to help end Christian malnutrition into 3 groups. The easiest one is group 1. That's the things that we can physically get that can help deliver nourishment. Would you believe that only a small minority of churches actually have a Bible available on Sunday morning to give to somebody, whether one is a guest or a member or to keep? Best idea, get an annotated edition with good explanatory notes. They cost more, but they also come in paperback. Get one for your church anyway. Buy yourself one for you to give away. You'll know when you'll be welcome, when it will be welcome. The next best thing, show up at your local Christian bookshop and go through the boring material until you come to a short book or pamphlet that's a grabber. Get a few copies. Give them away at the right times to the right people. And one more idea. Hunt down blogs and other sites with excellent materials, especially those with personal testimonies. Make a note of these. Keep a small printed list of them that you can give away to others. Group 2 is the bicycle pump, what I call the bicycle pump. When you've given away a Bible, some pamphlets, lists of URLs, and talk to people in your clubs and organizations. Ask them if they ever thought of organizing this Bible program. After all, you're going to buy Bibles forever for your congregation. Get people involved and great and good things will emerge. For example, what about a good annotated Bible for your high school grads or those going into military service? perhaps to replace beloved but old copies that had no explanatory notes to make sense of the text. Whatever one person can do that helps another to be spiritually nourished is something that the others can join in on and bump it up into something remarkable. All right, group 3 is the multiplier. By this time, you'll likely have a number of people who are doing different things to make nourishment more available, more lively, more visible and present amongst the people whom you know and with whom you worship. Pray and study. Invite them over for pizza. Start sharing ideas. New concepts and directions will absolutely emerge. For example, texting prayers between those who want this, or the Lord's Supper, or agape meals, and hope, and ad hoc, and at the golf club or at a nearby coffee shop. Also, pray for partners, writing journaling groups, or going to listen to others whom you don't usually see. You may not have talked with those people, or the Pentecostals, for example, down the street, or how about the Byzantine Catholic Church up the hill? Try it. Amazing jewels of faith and spirituality lie almost unnoticed amongst us until we ask about them. To use a simple secular analogy, remember there was a time when there were no fantasy sports leagues? None. Nada. Remember that? See what happens when a captivating idea appears. Practicing Christians are an inventive bunch. You just have to get them started. There are 2 tricks to doing this. One is that you give away everything you can put by as soon as you have something put by. That generates more giveaway. The second is to remember you are not responsible for controlling the outcome of everything that you begin. God will take care of the rest of the work of nourishing his people. Serve then. Be the king's right arm.